Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, the woke left's least favorite YouTube channel. Friends, what we are seeing is panic. There's a whole lot of copium. Like I always say, the left wants us to believe that Donald Trump is crashing and burning. And Joe Biden, well, he is just fine, no reason to panic. But they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. On one side, they're saying everything's all good. Look at Joe Biden's fundraising numbers. More than triple what Donald Trump's campaign has in the coffers. It's frickin' over. Meanwhile, while at the same time sounding the alarm on a near constant basis because their evil plans don't seem to be working. Which one is it? Is it working? Are we taking down the evil orange man? Or is everything backfiring spectacularly in their face? Well, the answer is quite clear. It's backfire after backfire. Just last week, they were celebrating how Fani Willis wasn't removed from the case. This signals that it's over for Donald Trump. Of course, we covered the topic. I had a little bit of a different take. And well, I guess this confirms that I was right. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so the left certainly isn't panicking. They certainly aren't throwing a hissy fit because their lawfare campaign is meeting brick wall after brick wall. Here's a random tweet that popped up on my timeline. Our idiot of the day is Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee. Today, he allowed Donald Trump and his co-defendants to appeal his decision to allow Fani Willis to continue on the case. This is just going to lead to delay after delay. Yep. What happened, leftoids? I thought you guys secured a massive win last week. I thought it was over for Donald Trump. I thought we were yas queening in Fani Willis's direction. Yas queen, you go girl, back on the case. We're gonna take the evil orange man down. That was kind of the mood last week. We went from that to this. It's exactly what I said. There's no way that this case isn't delayed past the election cycle, especially with the situation in Fulton County. It's an absolute frickin' mess. After everything that's been uncovered, after the possible conflict of interest, the taxpayer dollar embezzlement, the clear ethics violations, there's no way that this case is going to wrap up before the election. And that has leftoids losing their damn minds. Appeal after appeal. Georgia judge allows Trump and co-defendants to appeal Fani Willis' disqualification decision. Oh no, it's the end of the world, the end of democracy as we know it, because Donald Trump was given the right to appeal the judge's decision. Does that sound like the end of democracy, or does that just sound like the legal system working in nonpartisan fashion, working as intended? I don't know, I'll leave that decision up to you guys. All I know is that the left is real unhappy. And it's not just in Georgia, no, in Florida too. We all know that Judge Aileen Cannon hasn't exactly been playing ball with Jack Smith. She's been very careful throughout this entire process, unwilling to rush the process, not giving in to the DOJ's expedite the process demands. And this, of course, has all the legal analysts at MSNBC throwing a hissy fit.
I'm having a hard time defending Judge Cannon's actions, and not just because it's against Trump, but here's somebody who's already been humiliated by the 11th Circuit, like one of the most conservative circuits in America. And I've just got to say, her rulings are just mind-boggling. I don't understand them, and I'm not alone. A lot of legal experts are just completely perplexed.
So I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. Initially, she's a new judge, she's inexperienced, she's taking time, and she's trying to get it right. But she's getting it dead wrong. And every time she gets it dead wrong, it's always in Donald Trump's favor.
All right, so Judge Aileen Cannon is getting it all dead wrong. Let me translate that for you. Judge Aileen Cannon is getting everything wrong because she isn't simply greenlighting and rubber stamping the DOJ's legal railroading of the former president of the United States and current Republican candidate. The Espionage Act isn't vague. Really, it's an extremely vague law. It's a law that's never actually used. A very old law that was intended for completely different purposes that the DOJ is currently attempting to weaponize against the former president of the United States. They want to charge him with espionage because he took his own documents home. The definition of espionage is sharing sensitive information with foreign adversaries to harm the United States. Donald Trump clearly never did that. There's no evidence of that, but that's not even relevant here. Judge Aileen Cannon is simply trying to get to the bottom of things. She's trying to dot all her I's and cross her T's, and the left can't handle it because what they want is a quote expedited process. In other words, they just want the trial before the election so they can imply that he's a criminal, using it as a campaign rhetoric tool. They want shots of Donald Trump in the courtroom to fearmonger the American public into voting for Joe Biden. And the fact that Judge Aileen Cannon isn't playing ball, that she isn't playing their game, well, that means she's getting it dead wrong. Absolutely idiotic. They are panicking. They're panicking because it isn't working. The documents case, delayed. The fake elector scheme case, delayed. Jack Smith's January 6th case, which could honestly wrap up in about 2 seconds if you simply go on Donald Trump's Twitter account, boom, exonerated. That case is also being delayed, currently paused as Donald Trump appeals at the Supreme Court, and so the left is throwing a freaking hissy fit. They're supposedly so confident. Well, you know, they might have been confident when it looked like some of these indictments were going to accomplish what they were set out for, but these days, not so much. And that's not the only thing that has Democrats panicking. And actually, it's a very similar story. You know, when these 91 indictments hit, the mood in leftist circles was real high. Oh my lord, it's actually happening. We're going to throw the man in jail. Donald Trump is done. And went from that to absolute desperation and despair, and we're seeing the exact same thing with the involvement of a third-party candidate, Mr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Remember how it started, right? RFK Jr. running as a third-party candidate signals the demise of Donald Trump's electoral hopes. That's what they told us. That was the initial narrative. Then, of course, reality set in, and, well, similar panic at MSNBC. Jen Psaki sounds alarm on huge problem third-party candidates pose to Biden. Trashes conspiracy theorist RFK Jr.
Well, I don't want to be in RFK Jr.'s brain where he doesn't believe in science and all sorts of other things. Right. But I will say, Mika, I was nodding along as Tom was just talking. I think this is the biggest challenge. There is unquestionably, Trump has a broad support in his base, as we've just been discussing, and we've seen that play out in the primary. That's the only piece, though, we know at this point. He has problems among independents and problems with an expanded electorate. But these third-party candidates are a huge problem, and there's a number of them. If you look at RFK Jr., it's the name recognition issue, as Tom was just talking about. And there are still states in this country, obviously, I mean, Georgia is one of them, I will name, where the Kennedy name is beloved, right? Where people may just not where they may just not know a lot about the fact that he is an anti-vaxxer who's a conspiracy theorist. They don't know that yet. So this is something, there is an aggressive effort that the campaign has been working with the Democratic National Committee on to run on this, but it needs to be broad. People need to be shouting it from the rooftops, because this is one of the biggest threats to Joe Biden being reelected, is these third-party candidates. Michigan is a state where RFK, I think, is polling at 10%. Right? And so this is a place where Joe Biden needs to win, and RFK Jr. is making a real threat to that. So it's good we're talking about it. It is a real threat.
So let me translate it all for you. Donald Trump is afforded basic, simple legal rights, the same as any other defendant. He's appealing decisions and really fighting for his life in court. The judge is getting it wrong. Donald Trump has the judge in his pocket, yada, yada, yada. And now a third-party candidate is running for president in an election with significant support, has all the signatures he needs to get on the ballot. In other words, democracy in action, and it's somehow a bad thing. Why is it a bad thing? Well, it's a bad thing because it doesn't benefit them politically. Their definition of something that's wrong or something that's bad is really anything they disagree with. I mean, that tends to be the common denominator, right? Anybody I disagree with is a fascist. Anybody I disagree with is an extremist. Anybody I disagree with is a threat to democracy or a Russian bot. Any third-party candidate that runs and pulls support away from my candidate is a threat to democracy. Ooh, a crazy, kooky, evil conspiracy theorist. And any judge that makes a decision that I disagree with is probably also a threat to democracy and getting it dead wrong. The panic is setting in. When leftists are throwing a tantrum, you know probably good things are happening. Well, the collective tantrum is in full effect, and so I guess it's a good day. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.